Most businesses don't fail, they actually get stuck. They usually get stuck between the 100,000 to the 500K revenue range. And it's not really because you don't work hard enough. I mean, you don't get to 100,000 to 500,000 in revenue a year without working hard. But the reason why you get stuck is because you kind of hit a wall and no one really talks about these issues. So if you're looking ahead, maybe in your business before you make those ranges and you want to learn a little bit of something before you do get stuck, or if you're one of these businesses that are stuck, I did some research and these are the main reasons why you're stuck, and we'll cover those. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe to my video. If you're watching this on Facebook, please follow me on Facebook. Otherwise, let's jump in and take a look at some of the reasons why you may be stuck, or maybe you can plan ahead so you don't get stuck when you hit those revenue ranges. All right, so in this video, we're going to break down what actually happens, right? We're going to cover why your business gets more complicated as you grow, how you actually become the bottleneck of the company, why most businesses don't have a scalable demand, the hidden profit and cash flow problems, and the loop that keeps your business stuck. And most importantly, we're going to give you some ideas of how you can overcome these problems, or if you're looking ahead to when you hit these revenue marks, or maybe you're a smaller company and you haven't had these failures yet, you can plan ahead and make sure you're not having these problems in the future. All right, so let's move on to the first problem, the transition problem, right? In the beginning, the business is real simple. You get customers, you do the work, and then you get paid. But it starts to change. As the business grows, you start to have more communication problems. You have more moving parts, more problems in general with your services. And then suddenly you're not really doing the work anymore. You're working on a system that doesn't exist, right? This will be your first breaking point. And the things you can do to kind of try to solve this is just begin, documenting what you do, right? How you deliver your services, how you talk with the customer, what do you say when you answer the phone even, right? And how do you handle their objections, or how do you solve this problem as their frequently asked questions. This will in turn help you to know exactly what you should do. But the biggest benefit is probably going to be later on when you hire someone to do that role. You have documentations of how you do it. They have something they can look at and reference, what they should say, how they should speak to the customers. And this is going to be probably your first bottleneck in your business, right? The scaling problem. All right, so now let's move on to the next problem you may face when you get to that scale, is your systems may break first. At this stage, most businesses are running on memory, right? You've been doing it this way forever. There's no real systems, there's no standard processes, no consistency tracking. You're quoting jobs different every time, you're handling customers different every time, solving the same problems over and over again, and it works until you have a huge volume increase, right? Then suddenly things start to fall through the cracks, quality becomes inconsistent, you start reacting instead of operating, and growth slows down. To fix it, it's pretty simple. You need to take what's in your head and turn it into a repeatable process, right? Start with how you quote people, how you onboard customers, how you deliver your services. You don't need dozens of systems, you need few that actually run your business. Example, how do you do your cold outreach, right? So maybe you call them. What's the first thing you say to them? How do you find the people, right? So document how you find qualified leads to call. Document how you then go about calling them. Maybe you have a certain CRM you use, or maybe you just use Excel spreadsheets. But you want the process to be as clear as possible so you're maintaining the same process every time. And once again, it goes back to the beauty of documentation. You can also use that as a reference. So maybe you got 30%, you 30% engagement rate, or engagement rate, I'll call it, with the customer when you cold call them, right? And then you get them to a prospect at like 2%, right? Well, the beauty of those processes too is like later on you can actually switch those processes to be slightly different to see if you can't get better return on investment on those, right? So it doesn't only stop you from growing, but it also stops you from trying new things that may or may not work and testing those things. So break down those systems, get it into a process, and get it out of your head. Okay, so let's move on to the third possible problem why you're not moving past those revenue numbers, right? It's because you become the bottleneck. I mean, it's the hard truth. You are the bottleneck, right? If you are the top salesperson, the main operator, the decision maker, everything will depend on you, man. And you become the bottleneck. The business hits its limit once you hit your limit. You can only do so much. That's why so many businesses start to plateau here. They don't end up delegating. You want to begin delegating your processes to someone else. You can pick one process to delegate to somebody, maybe scheduling, customer communications, or part of your delivery process. Whatever one it is, get it running without you, right? That's the goal. And that should be a lot easier if you followed the other problems. You documented your processes and you documented your procedures to talk to customers. If you've already done that, that should make delegation way easier. Once you start to get one thing solved, get the next one, get the next one, and eventually your business will start to grow again. Okay, and let's move on to the fourth reason why your business may be stalling or failing to grow, right? And that is demand isn't scalable. All right, when you first started your business, chances are you started out with like referrals, word of mouth, you had local connections, and early on that works great, right? But eventually that demand runs out. There's only so many people that can refer you. There's so many referrals you can get. You can only tell so many people about your business. Um, and then your revenues become very unpredictable and hard to grow, right? So you need revenue to be more consistent. In order to do this, you have to find different channels to get more leads or customers. And you really just want to pick one, right? You can pick Google search, you can do content just like this one, cold outreach, partnerships, affiliates. There's a million ways to grow your channel. Maybe the local newspaper, or maybe have an ad on that. Maybe that's where your customers are. You got to pick a channel and get a system that's repeatable to where you can find more customers for your business, right? And that'll help you grow past that 100,000 to 500,000 range. Okay, so let's move on to the fifth reason why your business may be stalling or not growing, right? It's because you're busy but not profitable. This is where things can be very misleading because from the outside you look very successful, right? You're busy, you have customers, money's coming in, but behind the scenes, when you run your books, there's no margin left for you and your business, right? You're underpricing, costs are rising, there's no money left to hire people, invest, or grow your business. So even though revenue looks good, the business is actually pretty stuck. You need a good margin to grow your business, like 20%. Simple things you can do to do this is raising your prices, right? Setting minimum project limits or sizes, removing low margin work. Once you figure out your pricing and get the pricing right, you're going to see a big difference in your ability to grow your business because then you can do the others. You can process, you can delegate, and do the other things to grow your business. So it's important that you have the correct pricing. Okay, and let's go ahead and move on to the sixth reason why your business may be stalling or failing to grow, right? And that's going to be cash flow problems. Many small businesses only have a few weeks of cash on hand, right? Which means one slow month, one late payment, or one unexpected expense that comes up. Maybe the transmission in your car goes out, and that's your vehicle to get around, and you got to pay for that. It's going to hamper you, right? Instead of growing, you're just going to try to stay afloat. And the fix isn't always more revenue for this problem, it's more of a cash flow management problem, right? So you can do things like taking deposits up front, getting paid faster, or structuring payments properly. This can give you more breathing room and give you more options for your cash flow problems. Okay, and let's move into the seventh problem, and probably the worst problem is the plateau loop. It's not just one issue. You're having all those issues at once, right? It's a loop. Weak demand, slow revenues, limited capacity hurts your delivery, poor cash flow prevents fixes, and all three feed into each other, right? And it's over and over and over again, and that's why random fixes don't work. If you try to fix everything at once, you really fix nothing. You need to really identify exactly what you want to fix first. Which one is the bottleneck right now? Is it demand? Is it capacity? Is it cash? And then you pick one and you solve that problem, right? One problem's out of the way. Multitasking is a myth. Fix one problem at a time, get it functional, and then move on to the next one. Okay, so let's move on to the eighth section. How businesses actually break through, right? The business that actually grow past this level follow a very specific pattern. They don't scale randomly. They do it in order. They fix their numbers. They fix their pricings. They build basic systems. They remove themselves from one function. Then they scale one channel. So once you get this down, fix the numbers, fix the pricing, get some basic systems set up, and remove yourself from one function, and then figure out a channel to advertise in, right? That's how you go from a business that feels stuck to one that actually grows. One problem at a time. You might have to work at night. Maybe you're too busy during the week because your pricing's off and you have to work all week. Work 2 nights a week, getting some processes set up, or maybe just raise your prices right away. Whatever it takes, that's what you got to do to get your business to grow. Okay, so we went through all the common reasons why businesses have a trouble growing once they hit that 100,000 and the 500K mark. A lot of businesses never can make that transition because it's not really because it's complicated, it's because they never learned how to get out of that. They never were told, they never looked into it, and they just keep thinking they got to work harder and eventually they'll work their way out of it. But really, what happens is they work harder and they stay the same, right? And chances are, if you don't correct those things, you're probably going to slowly fail to your competitor who is doing those prices, or not prices, doing these systems, right? Just a quick pitch. I am Sinnard Technologies. I help businesses grow. I help them grow through software. I do mobile apps, custom software, websites. I also do informational stuff like this to help you grow your business. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're watching this on Facebook, please follow my channel on, not my channel, my page on Facebook. Otherwise, if you want to get some custom software to improve your systems and make you more profitable, I'll have a link in the description. Click it. Let me know what you want to work on, and we can work from there. Otherwise, you all have a good day and keep growing your business.